Why have you not done so?
My Lord, that's what I've tried to explain, that subsequent to the order, we filed an application for stay of proceedings, and there is a genuine concern that that application would be undermined if we took fresh steps in the matter. And that is the reason why we have not filed it. And particularly when the view is that the review would, if granted, would impact on the kind of witness statements that we would file. Unless, of course, the suggestion is that the review is already predetermined, and therefore...
Mr. Lithur, don't do that. Don't do that at all.
I'm not
do not do that.
I withdraw that. But my understanding... Yes.
Are you saying that... Are you saying that in case your review application is refused, you will not be able to file witness statements? Is that what you are saying?
Oh, then we would file without incorporating the issues that we are seeking the review for in our witness.
Then why not comply with the order of the court? File your witness statements. In case your review is granted, the rules permit you to file supplementary witness statements if you have any. Why are you refusing to obey the orders of the court? And meanwhile, you want us to hear your applications.
With the greatest respect, I didn't just not file. I filed an application for stay of proceeding.
When did you file the application for stay?
It was filed on 21st.
When?
21st of January.
When did we make our orders for you to file your witness statement?
The orders
and the legal objection. When did we make those orders?
Although that was made on the 20th, a day before.
A day before?
Yes, my lord. So, my lord, kindly.
Mr. Lithur.
Yes. Yeah.
Order, please. Order. It's not coming.
Supreme Court has resumed sitting concerning the election petition brought before it by former President John Dramani Mahama. As it resumes sitting today, there are at least 6 issues that the Supreme Court is expected to address this morning. Key among them being the fact that the petitioner had earlier on filed an application for a stay of proceedings, but before then also it had asked the Supreme Court to review its decision concerning the application for interrogatories to ask the EC chairperson some 12 questions which the petitioner believes if these questions are answered that it will give the Supreme Court a certain focus and make time for the proceedings to be shortened. These are the outstanding issues. However, yesterday, just about 2:30 in the afternoon, the petitioners again made an application to the Supreme Court, and this application had to do with some corrections and additions they wanted to make in respect of the application for review. So what then it meant was that the motion they filed yesterday indicated that the petitioner wanted to add certain information, some information to the review application. Then beyond that, they also wanted to make some corrections to paragraph 28 of the petition that had been brought before the Supreme Court. However, this morning, as the court resumed, what happened was that the court asked the parties involved to present their witness statements. Indeed, on the 20th of this month, when the court sat, and the second time, the instructions to both the first respondent, second respondent, and indeed the petitioner was for them to file their witness statements by today. The petitioner hadn't done so, and that obviously displeased the judges on the panel. The lawyer for the petitioners today, represented by lawyer Tony Lithur, he made a submission and suggested that indeed because the petitioner had filed for a stay of proceedings, they believed that there was no need to present witness statements today until a decision had been arrived on the stay of proceedings and the other applications that the petitioner and his lawyers had brought before the court. The court has had now gone into recess to consider some of these matters. This is what has happened in court this morning. As proceedings began, it took less than 10 minutes for the court to rise again. We now wait to see what the outcome will be, and whatever the outcome will be, we will let you know. We'll hand over back to the studio where you are having your experts who will continue with the discussion. Anybody?
It's 9:59. To hear your notifications while your phone is locked, you'll need to turn on headphones. Personal results. Check the notification.
at the Supreme Court, and our reporters on the ground tell us that the Supreme Court has gone on recess. That's because the petitioners, led by counsel Tony Lithur, today were supposed to file their witnesses' statements. They couldn't do that today, and they are saying that there was a motion pending for a review of a ruling that the Supreme Court made on their request to ask the EC some 12 or 15 specific questions. The Supreme Court dismissed that request and made their ruling. The NDC requested for a review of that ruling. Later, after the court adjourned to today, the NDC filed another motion to stay proceedings until the Supreme Court has heard their case on a motion requesting for a review of that particular hearing. So, counsel Tony Lithur was saying that because these two motions were pending, they didn't come to court today with their petitioner statement. Don't forget that the NDC has said that they have some 5 witnesses who would be their witnesses in this particular case, the 2020 presidential election petition hearing at the Supreme Court. And so as we speak, the court has gone on recess. They would decide what will be the next way forward. When they return, we'll bring you pictures of that particular event. That is exclusive and live on Ghana Television. So at this point, we're going to get Ghana Television, GTV, join the feed from the Accra International Conference Center, where His Excellency J.J. Rawlings is lying in state. When the court gives a signal that they are ready to make their ruling on today's issues, then we'll go back to the Supreme Court, and then GTV will bring you pictures from the Supreme Court. Our men on the ground, Abdul Hai Momen, and my senior colleague, Edward Nyako, would be speaking to the parties involved in this particular matter and bring you up to speed with what's happening at the Supreme Court. You want to stay with us. So we'll go back to the Accra International Conference Center, where we see more dignitaries, personalities paying their last respects to His Excellency J.J. Rawlings. We see in your pictures not too long ago Do Ajaho, who was a former Speaker of Parliament, paying his last respect. So it's gotten to that point where former Speakers of Parliament would come to pay their last respect.
The lineup.
The lineup that we have. Former Speakers of Parliament will come there to pay their last respect to the late J.J. Rawlings. Those are pictures coming to you from the Accra International Conference Center. As you can see, I mean, there's so much, security because of the personalities.
It should be expected.
I mean, that are coming there today.
It should be expected.
And also the safety protocols, COVID-19 safety protocols, adhered to strictly.
And it has been very strictly.
Very much so. Yes. Very much so. Yesterday when I was there, when you get to the main entrance of the conference center, you do a security check, and then there's a booth where you are fumigated. I don't know whether that word is right. And then you climb up to the main frontage of the conference center. Lined up is, lots and lots of sanitizers. You can choose from to sanitize your hands. You walk in there quietly, and then you wave at the family, and then you do a turn, and then you bow, and then you come out.
You walk out.
Sure. And you are not allowed to take any pictures. Yes. So, those are pictures. I think that even today, the general public should be allowed. So we're seeing the numbers. The
numbers, yes.
Okay, so this is the NDC caucus in Parliament. I can see some
Honorable
very
Hannah Tete there.
Sure, it should be the NDC caucus in Parliament. They are getting themselves ready to pay their last respect. That's the Speaker of Parliament,
Mr. Alban Bagbin.
Honorable Alban
Now, because
Bagbin.
of the mask, you are not able to readily identify.
Sure. But he's with his glasses.
That should be him. Yes, that should be him.
You get to see who he is.
That should be him.
Alban Sumana Bagbin, the current Speaker of Parliament. He will pay his last respects to J.J. Rawlings. There we see heads of security agencies. We also see the second deputy speaker, Joe Wise, the second deputy speaker in your shots there. And then those are parliamentary staffers.
Of the clerks?
Sure. Those who work in Parliament, senior members of, the parliamentary workforce. So they're in your shot.
The minority leader.
Well, at this point, they call him the leader of the NDC group.
The leader of the NDC group.
The leader of the NDC group.
Mr. Haruna Idrisu.
In Parliament.
Yes.
Mr. Haruna Idrisu, an experienced politician.
This is just going to be confusing. Eh?
Sure. He is being Minister of Communications at a point. He's being majority leader at a point.
A very
He's being
fine
minority
politician.
Leader at a point. He comes across as someone who welcomes views, from both political divides. So much respect for him, even from the MPP side. He leads the.
That should be Mr. Osei Chairman Sabunsu, who just walked past.
Right.
A very solemn moment, Morris.
Sure. And I had the opportunity to file pass yesterday.
You did?
I did, yes. I because I was
How
there.
was it like?
It was humbling.
that you had the opportunity. Because not everybody is going to have the opportunity.
It's true.
There are people who will be limited geographically, even though they would like to come and watch, they may not get the opportunity. So for me, it was humbling that I get to see this man finally.
And for people who haven't still come to terms with the fact that he's gone,
sure.
you see him
Sure.
lying in state, and
Sure.
I mean, there's no two ways about it. You have no option.
Even at this point, some will still feel it's not true until maybe tomorrow when
he's finally lowered,
and then maybe when the casket is covered. And then you know that the man is beginning a journey to eternity.
A journey of no return, if
Sure.
you can say that.
Sure. All right, so there we have it. Politicians from both the NDC and the NPP, at the Accra International Conference Center.
And it is humbling how COVID-19 has been able to, change our very fabric of social life. Now we go to events such as this, which it was the norm for you to shake hands.
To even hug.
But now it has been reduced to a wave or a fist bump.
Sure. That's Honorable Doyo, Comfort Doyo Ganza. She's an MP for Ada. You see in a shot, he's a new entrant in Parliament. Francis Sosu Xavier. He's an MP for Madina. He unseated Honorable Sadiq.
Sorogo.
No, Honorable Sadiq of the NDC.
Boniface, yes.
Sadiq
Boniface
of the
Sadiq,
NPP.
sure.
And he goes to Parliament for the first time. He's a human rights lawyer. He's been fighting the cases for vulnerable people,
the less privileged
in society, pro bono. And I guess he will continue to do that even now that he has become an MP there.
I remember that case he had with a man who had been in court.
Who had been in prison?
In prison for so long, and he was able to...
It was in remand, actually.
Okay.
Yeah. And then fought that case for him, and the guy was released. Yeah. He's done several of those
issues.
Of those cases, actually.
So yesterday, exactly 5 p.m., the doors were closed, or they were able to extend the time?
I think it was 5 p.m.
5 p.m.
Yeah, but I left before 5 p.m. anyway. But these are, this event is being ushered by the military and the national, the state protocol.
So there is strict compliance to time?
To time. So I'm thinking about 5 p.m. yesterday.
Youth groups were working from different directions that he knew he was part of before June 4th broke out, and after that before 31st broke out. And like I said, it was a very interesting, down-to-earth person to work with.
But very interesting and down-to-earth person to work with.
Yeah.
Right. And what if I ask you, what do you remember about him? Your fond memories of him. Tell me one important thing that you remember about.
What I know about him is that he was down to earth person. When you dream about something in connection with the process, and you went there to you will catch his attention, and where he thought that there were other people in the group that you should touch base with, network with, he will recommend and will follow through.
So with me, also joining me in the studio is the Right Honorable Doe Ajaho, a former Speaker of Parliament. Honorable Doe Ajaho, you're welcome. And we're all looking at someone that we thought, we were thinking at a point in time, when his death was announced, people were surprised. And it got to a time that people were thinking that it is Rawlings never dies. But the story of Rawlings is dead came in. So what are you thinking about? Rawlings is gone. What are you thinking about?
Indeed, until I saw him lying in state, that was the position I took, that Rawlings never died. I couldn't even believe it. Indeed, I was lost for words. And if you recall, I've never granted an interview until I came out. And I spoke to the media for the first time since the unfortunate incident of November 12, 2020. But he was larger than life.
Yes.
He walked the talk. When he spoke about probity and accountability, it wasn't just a mere slogan. He actually lived it until the day he fell dead. You know, you remember during the PNDC days, where his fight against corruption, his stand for probity and accountability was high. He never departed from those virtues, those principles, until he's passed on. I had the privilege, of getting closer to him, not when he was in office, but when he left office during the Kufuor administration. But from a distance, he continued to motivate me. I just told a story of when I was Majority Chief Whip, and I went to do a program on those days, is it Talking Point? I think we still have it.
You still have it, yes.
It's normally on over the weekend, Sundays. I went there to do a program to defend the government position on certain issues. I was shocked the following day. Ambassador Victor Smith, who was then working in his office, brought a letter signed by the First Lady, the wife, Nana Konadu Ajima Rawlings, that she and the husband appreciate my contributions, and that I should continue on that path. That's the level of motivation. That's the level of encouragement. It is not this time that we have this politics of pull you down. When you are shining, then people will meet, plan, and try and draw you down. He will motivate you, he will encourage you, he will support you. He will stand by you when he's convinced that what you are doing is right. And that letter, that from the first family at the time, I valued it up to today. That is continue to inspire me to reach where I have reached in politics. And don't forget, as a young lawyer, I was posted to Brown-Harford region, to the Attorney General's Department for my national service in the early 80s. And I was there one morning when a letter came from Accra, signed by the PNDC coordinator for revenue commissioners, tribunals and investigations, appointing me as assistant special public prosecutor in charge of Wrongful region. Apparently, a week before I did a case at the tribunal, and I think there were reports all over, clearly showed the way I defended the person that appointment came, young as I was at that time. And so the whole Council Office of Special Public Prosecutor originated from the man, Jerry John Rawlings, in his bid to prosecute, to serve as deterrent for economic saboteurs, for people who continue to dish their hands into the scarce resources of this state for their personal gain. And I don't know the number of properties that the man had got at the time of his death. When he was living in Accra, I happened to visit there once. We went for a funeral at Transition, the funeral of the late Ebotewia. And we followed him to know where he was staying. And he was staying in a rented place. Later on, I was told. He was staying in a rented place. Apart from his Tefle place, that I know, very modest house. I don't know of any other. But, this should be the way forward.
Public should be the leader.
Yes, the public office should not be used to make money at the expense of the people. Clearly, I mean, if that path is not the correct path to go as a people and as a nation. And that is why he had no patience for people.
He considered us corrupt.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
And many people did not agree so much with him.
That takes me to my next question. Honorable E.T. Mensah, you work with him. Yeah. And you know that in this part of the world, you know, there are people who don't have anything to show for but for politics. Before politics, they were nobody. They have not done any hard work before. And so when they're going into politics, they're going into politics to make wealth. And you have a leader you are all following, and the man is against this. How comfortable were you? Were you not afraid of your future? That the future is going to be bleak, the future without money, the future without resources? Were you not afraid of it?
We were not afraid of it. Well, we knew the man we were working with who was interested in details. Like I said, we started with him years back before 31st. June 4th even broke out. And 31st, we had movements where we used to go around the country and replicate the movements. And also every weekend we had to go somewhere to go and educate the people, to let them know where we were going to. And he, was quite an interesting person. All cabinet members then knew. Now, once in a while, he would draw people's attention. Gentlemen, you know where we're coming from, and you know our mantra, probity and accountability. You have to bear in mind that there will be a day of reckoning. So whatever you are doing, you have to be very careful. There were times when people even considered funny whenever you found the new people who had joined, as secretaries, wearing expensive watches and things, would do their attention, and they will remove it before stepping out to come to cabinet meetings. So we knew who he was, and he would not spare anybody, no matter how close you were with him, if you should cross the red line.
You know what you're going to face. Right Honorable Do Ajaho, former Speaker of Parliament, you have a very fine experience working with former President Rawlings. Do you think at any point in time he felt and he believed that what he wanted to do, he's been able to at least do so?
Yes, he's not expressed it. Okay. The what from discussions with me, what I've observed is that he did not want his legacy to be destroyed. Up to where he has reached, he still believes that there's more to be done. He believes that there's more to be done, irrespective of what is achieved so far. But he still believes that there's a lot that he needs to do as a citizen. Especially when you can't see injustice. They can't see people, suffering. He can't tolerate corruption. And he believes that one way to move this country forward is to fight corruption, is to walk the talk on probity and accountability. And anytime he see people departing from that path, he feels a sense of betrayal. He feels that, look, all these sacrifices that I did, putting my life at risk, why can't people see it in that light and continue in that spirit? And so, yes, he felt he's done a lot. He also felt that he sacrificed a lot. He felt that he has given his all.
You're welcome back. It's still our live coverage of the 4-day state funeral of His Excellency J.J. Rawlings. As I told you earlier on, there's also a Supreme Court hearing at the Supreme Court concerning the 2020 election petition. The court went on a short recess. We are told by our men on the ground that the court has returned.
The government of Ghana and Lord Traditional Council, the family, and the Funeral Planning Committee wish to inform the general...
Right with the pre-trial directions of this court, save the petitioner. The petitioner has filed an application for stay of proceedings pending the hearing of an application for review of his earlier motion to serve interrogatories on first respondent. Before this court listens to further applications at the instance of the petitioner, it is imperative that its prior orders are complied with to enable the business of conducting this petition to be done in orderly and expeditious manner and as procedurally directed by CI 99. It is clear that whatever issues may arise from the interrogatories filed by the petitioner, if allowed on review or acceded to by the first respondent, can be incorporated in the due conduct of the trial. We do not appreciate that the current state of pleadings and processes filed should make room for a party to seek further audience while ignoring the prior directions and orders of the court. To the extent that the earlier orders of this court have not been complied with, the petitioner is referred to the following rules of court. Rule 69C4B of the Supreme Court Rule CI 16 as amended by CI 99, which reads, quote, the court may A. dismiss the petition where the petitioner fails to file the processes regarding the petition within the specified time, or B. hear and determine the petition where the respondent failed to file their answers or the processes regarding their answer within the specified time. Indeed, this position in the procedural rules of the Supreme Court relating to presidential election petition is echoed through the different hierarchies of courts in current case management structure and will not be compromised. Order 32 Rule 7A, Sub-Rule 3 of the High Court Civil Procedure Amendment Rules 2004 CI 87, which governs trials in the High Court, has a similar provisions as follows. Where a party has failed to comply with any of the directions given at a case management conference or pre-trial review or both, the judge may make any of the following orders. A. Strike out the action if the non-complying party is a plaintiff. B. Strike out the defense and counterclaim, as the case may be if the non-complying party is a defendant. C. Order any party to pay cost. Or D. Make any the appropriate order. End of quote. The petitioner is again directed to file his witness statement on the matters raised in his petition and other pleadings, and his response to the preliminary objections by close of the day on Wednesday, the 27th of January 2021, failing which this court will proceed to invoke the sanctions imposed on this court by the rules of court. The petition is thus adjourned to Thursday, the 28th of January 2021 for hearing.
We're grateful to your lordships for giving us the opportunity to file the witness statements, and we would like to state firmly, my lord, that we did not by any means intend just to disregard the orders. That was never the intention. As we indicated, we had expected that there would be an opportunity for us in the witness statement to include some of the matters that were the subject of the discovery processes. But in any case, your lordships have ordered for us to proceed with filing tomorrow, and we will we will act accordingly, and we're grateful for your indulgence.
We are grateful to the court. It's grateful. All rise.
Come back at 1 p.m. for the other motions. Yes, the review motion. Make the announcement. It's okay. We will announce